You might have a bottle of saw palmetto on your shelf right now. Maybe beta-sitosterol, maybe a prostate formula that cost you $40 and promised results you haven't felt. You're not alone in that, and you didn't do anything wrong by trying. What if the support your prostate actually needs was never in a pill, but in 3 whole fruits you've been walking past in the produce section every week? It's easy to reach for a supplement because it feels like a direct, concentrated fix. The label lists an active compound, so you assume the bottle delivers exactly what the research talks about. But the prostate doesn't only respond to isolated extracts. It responds to daily patterns, to what lands on your plate and in your glass morning after morning. And that's the part many men miss. In my practice, I often meet men who feel quietly stuck. They've cycled through different prostate supplements, sometimes for years, without noticing much change. That frustration is real, and I don't want you to feel embarrassed or misled. I want to help you understand what may actually make a difference, starting with 3 simple fruits, and why they can offer something a capsule often can't. If this resonates, please tap, like so, more men can find this conversation, and leave a comment below. Tell me what prostate concern has been bothering you most, or which supplement you've tried. Let's start with why many prostate supplements fall short. The first reason is that a single isolated compound pulled out of a plant doesn't always behave the same way inside your body as it does inside the whole fruit. Whole fruits come with fiber, water, and a network of other natural compounds that can influence how well your body absorbs and uses the active part. When you take an extract alone, you may be missing those cofactors, and the benefit can be much smaller than you hoped. The second reason is that not all prostate supplements are created with the same care. Many products on the shelf don't go through the same testing standards as food or medicine, and the amount of active ingredient can vary from bottle to bottle. You might be paying for a name on a label without getting a consistent dose of what actually matters. And then there's the bigger trap. Drinks and powders that use the word prostate in bold letters. Some of those bottles have more added sugar than a can of soda. That sugar can quietly fuel the very inflammation you're trying to calm, all while you think you're doing something healthy. Beyond the supplements themselves, there's another layer that often gets ignored. It's the small daily habits you do on autopilot, the routines you've had for years. They can quietly add pressure where you least expect it. Take your morning coffee. Coffee isn't bad for everyone, but when it's the first thing that hits an empty stomach, it can irritate the bladder lining and increase that sudden urge to go. If you're already dealing with a prostate that's pressing on the urethra, that extra irritation can make your mornings feel urgent and uncomfortable. Then there's the habit of holding urine during the morning rush. Many men get up, down a coffee, and push through the first urge to empty their bladder because they're in a hurry. Holding it in regularly can keep the bladder wall under tension and may worsen that feeling of incomplete emptying later in the day. It's such a small, automatic thing, but it's one of those patterns that quietly stacks up over time. Evening choices matter just as much as morning ones. A spicy meal late at night, a couple of glasses of wine, or a large dinner close to bedtime can all act as bladder irritants. Alcohol, in particular, can make you feel sleepy at first, but it tends to fragment your sleep and increase nighttime urination. You wake up tired, and your prostate and bladder have been working harder than they needed to while you were supposed to be resting. You'll see drinks labeled with phrases like prostate health or urinary support, often in the juice aisle. If you flip the bottle and read the ingredients, the first or second item is often apple juice concentrate, pear juice concentrate, or plain sugar. The actual prostate supportive ingredient might be in a tiny amount, buried far down the list. You're mostly buying sugar water with a health halo, and your body and your prostate deserve more honest fuel than that. Now, if you've been relying on supplements and still dealing with that nagging urgency, the weak stream, or getting up 2 or 3 times a night, I don't want you to feel discouraged. I want you to see that there's a gentler, simpler approach hiding in plain sight. And it starts with a fruit that doesn't always get the attention it deserves. Pomegranate. Pomegranate seeds contain compounds called ellagitannins. When you eat the whole seeds, your gut bacteria convert those compounds into substances that help support a healthy inflammatory response in the body, including around the prostate. Some studies have looked at pomegranate and prostate health, and while the research is still developing, there's enough there to consider it a meaningful whole food choice. The key is to eat the actual fruit, or use pure unsweetened pomegranate juice in small amounts. Many bottled pomegranate drinks are blended with apple or grape juice and sweetened, which dilutes the benefit and adds sugar you don't need. The second fruit is one you already know, red grapes. The skins of red and purple grapes are rich in resveratrol and other polyphenols that support the health of tiny blood vessels. Your prostate has a dense network of blood vessels, and keeping that vascular network in good shape matters for nutrient delivery and waste removal. A small handful of fresh grapes in the morning gives you those compounds with natural hydration and fiber. What you don't want to do is swap the grapes for a glass of red wine and call it the same thing. The alcohol in wine can irritate your bladder and disrupt your sleep, which works against the very comfort you're trying to protect. The third fruit is cranberry, not the sweetened cranberry cocktail, not the dried cranberries coated in sugar, and not the blended juice drinks. Pure, unsweetened cranberries contain proanthocyanidins that can help make it harder for certain bacteria to stick to the urinary tract lining. For men over 50, urinary tract irritation can make prostate symptoms feel worse, so keeping that environment calm matters. You can use unsweetened cranberry juice, a small amount of whole fresh or frozen cranberries in oatmeal, or simply choose a pure, unsweetened option without added sugars. It'll taste tart, but that tartness is usually a sign you're getting the real thing, and a small serving each day is all you need to gently support your urinary tract. Tomorrow morning, keep it simple. Start with a glass of water before anything else, just to rehydrate after a long night. Then pick one of the three fruits, a few pomegranate seeds, a handful of grapes, or a small dish of unsweetened cranberries, and make it part of your breakfast or a quiet mid-morning snack. Your prostate has been quietly doing its work for decades. It doesn't demand much, and it rarely complains loudly when something starts to change. Instead, it sends small signals. Getting up at night? A slower stream? A feeling that you haven't quite finished? You don't need to be afraid of those signals. You just need to listen to them with the same quiet patience your prostate has shown you all these years. When you respond with gentler choices, with real food and simpler habits, you're not fighting your body. You're finally giving it what it's been quietly asking for. That's how healing starts, not with a dramatic overhaul, but with a softer, more attentive morning. And that soft attention, repeated day after day, is exactly what your prostate has been missing. Real lasting change in the body rarely comes from one big, heroic effort. It comes from small, consistent choices that you repeat day after day until they become part of who you are. You've already taken the first step by understanding that a handful of grapes can do more for you than a dusty supplement bottle. The next step is simply to let that understanding shape your morning, and then the next morning, and then the one after that. You don't need to be perfect. Some days you'll have the coffee first, or you'll forget the fruit, and that's okay. What matters is that most mornings you reach for something that genuinely supports you. Over time, those mornings add up, and your body notices. That gentle consistency is what your prostate has been waiting for, and that's a kind of support that no pill alone can offer. When you wake up, drink a glass of water before anything else. This simple habit rehydrates your body and eases that first morning urge to rush to the bathroom. At breakfast, add a small handful of pomegranate seeds or a little pure, unsweetened pomegranate juice. You'll be starting your day with compounds that support a calm inflammatory response. Mid-morning, if you feel hungry, reach for a small bunch of red grapes instead of a packaged snack. The resveratrol and polyphenols in the skin support the tiny blood vessels around your prostate, and the water content helps keep your bladder calm. Keep a bowl of washed grapes in the fridge so they're as easy to grab as anything else. Unsweetened cranberry can find its place later in the day. Stir a splash of pure cranberry juice into a glass of water, or add a small handful of fresh or frozen cranberries to your oatmeal or salad. The important thing is to avoid the sweetened cranberry cocktails, which dump sugar into your system and undo the good you're trying to do. A little tartness is a small price to pay for a calmer urinary tract. In the evening, go easy on alcohol, spicy dishes, and large meals right before bed. These can quietly provoke your bladder and disrupt your sleep, making those nighttime trips more frequent. After a couple of weeks of this gentler rhythm, pause and notice if you're waking a little less often or if the morning urgency feels softer. And don't be discouraged if the changes feel small at first. Your prostate didn't arrive at its current state overnight, and it won't shift overnight either. Every morning you choose real food over an empty supplement promise. You're moving in the right direction. Trust that your body knows what to do with honest, whole nourishment. And while you're paying attention to those small shifts, keep your doctor in the loop. Of course, if you notice blood in your urine, sudden pain, or a dramatic change in your ability to urinate, see your doctor promptly. Men who are already being treated for prostate cancer or who have a rising PSA should speak with their urologist before changing their diet significantly. These 3 fruits are gentle and safe for most people, but they are not a substitute for medical evaluation when symptoms are severe. When in doubt, always check with a professional who knows your personal history. You've lived with your body long enough to know when something feels off. The prostate doesn't demand dramatic interventions. It responds to quiet, consistent care. Starting tomorrow, you have a few new tools. Water first, 3 whole fruits, and a gentler rhythm. That's a foundation you can build on. Your health is a long, quiet conversation between you and the body that carries you through every day. Keep listening to the small signals and keep making the kinder choice. That's where real, lasting change begins. If this video helped you see your morning choices a little differently, please tap like. It helps more men find this information, men who might be stuck in the same cycle of expensive supplements and quiet frustration. And if someone you care about has been struggling with these symptoms, share this video with them. Sometimes the most helpful thing you can do is simply open the door to a different conversation. I'd love to hear from you in the comments. What prostate concern has been on your mind lately? Have you tried a supplement that didn't seem to do much? Your experience matters, and sharing it can help other men feel less alone. I do read every comment, and I use them to shape the topics we explore next. So please, take a moment and join the conversation. I'll post a poll in the community tab soon where you can vote on the next topic. We might cover blood pressure, energy levels, or joint comfort, all through the same gentle food-first approach. Make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss it. There's so much we can do to feel stronger and more comfortable as we get older. Thank you for spending this time with me. I hope you woke up this morning feeling a little more hopeful, and tomorrow morning, I hope you reach for that glass of water and one of those fruits with a quiet sense of purpose. Take care of yourself, and I'll see you in the next video.